Hello, hello. Good morning, Nuno. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And you?
Very good, very good. And today we have a very interesting subject to talk about. That is mindfulness. Do you want to start explaining it's a really trendy word, mindfulness? Like everyone sells mindfulness or says it's training or practicing mindfulness. So before we start the questions and the examples that we like to use or the tips, would you like to explain better what is mindfulness?
Okay. So mindfulness is a state of full presence, of full awareness.
Mhm,
So it's be in the moment when we are doing something,
mhm,
even if when doing something is to read, to walk on the streets, to have your meal, to have doing exercise, working. So it applies to all things. So mindfulness is this uh, we could use the word as a mindset of full awareness, of full presence, be here and now, doing something.
nice, good, good. And we use in our classes, in our methodology, and even in our website, we have the concept of mindfulness in movement. So, what is mindfulness in movement, and why is this different from the regular or other kinds of practice of mindfulness?
Okay. Uh, it is a tricky question, but I'll do my best. Many times, even by the definition, being aware of doing something, being present, we think mindfulness as an exclusive mental exercise. Okay. But the thing is, your brain to do a mental exercise is part of your body, of your physique. So there's no way of separating the two things as mindfulness as a mental workout versus movement or some kind of physical activity not being mindfulness. So in our approach, they converge into the same thing. I can be mindful grabbing a glass of water the same way I can train mindfulness as a meditation exercise. And for us is exactly the same, is being focused on doing something, even if that thing is a physical movement or a physical task.
Mhm.
And so for us, it's everything. Okay.
Okay, yeah. We tend to think that we just need to concentrate or to focus when we have a meeting or we need to pay attention to something, and in the rest of the day, our tendency is to do two or three things at the same time. So I am exercising and I'm listening to a podcast, or I'm walking, or even worse, I'm driving and texting. This kind of thing, like our brain pulls us to do this kind of thing. But it's really important to be present, and it's hard to be present if you're doing more than one thing at the same time. So it's important to understand that the nature of our brain is the dispersion, is to pay attention or try to do a lot of things at the same time. So we think we can be more effective
Productive. Yeah.
doing this kind of thing, but in fact, you are not, because you are not present. Same thing with the social media, right? If you are
Yeah.
there, like feeding your brain with a lot of useless information, you kind of lose the notion of time. Like time passes like this because you are not present, right? And this is one of
Yes.
the
Yes.
reasons it's important to be present so you can fully live your life, right? What do you think about it? Is
Yeah.
it too woo woo for you?
No, no. I think before mindfulness was trendy, multitasking was trending.
Yeah, yeah. And people used to think that multitasking was a quality, was a skill that you should train.
Yeah, and I think that the computers they start to sell themselves as a multitasking tool that you can like go into a specific software and render something so it's running on as a background and I can do more things. I don't need to close the software to open another software. So this multitasking thing, I think it's the reflection of the computer world that you actually
Mm,
can you need to have multiple tabs, multiple skills, multiple softwares, and at the same time you need to be multitasking too. And
mm,
I think the best way to understand that is not effective if you imagine a real funnel, okay, the funnel that you use to pour some water into a container, for example, it only works in one direction.
mm.
Okay, if I have a large opening on the top and I pour a lot of water and I converge into one thing, I can do the job. If I turn the funnel upside down, it's going to be a mess. And multitasking is turning the funnel upside down and it just disperses, you spill water everywhere and it doesn't, you don't have the result, okay?
Mhm,
Or in the beginning, you can have the sensation of, oh, I'm being highly productive because I'm doing lots of things. But then the amount of mistakes that you can see, you can notice by multitasking is not worth the stress of multitasking. And it's a stressful thing.
it's not sustainable in a long term,
No,
right?
no, no, no,
Yeah. So
not at all.
coming back to our main subject today, that is mindfulness in movement. What are we don't like to say the word benefits, but what are the best outcomes of bringing your full attention to simple activities in your daily life?
You're gonna, it's almost like investing on savings, but it is time that your profit is time. Because when you are focused doing something, you're probably going to do better in less time. And so you're by doing that, you're gonna save time in your life. And time just goes in one direction. So you cannot recover the lost time. And so for me, that is conceptually is that. Okay. If I go to the kitchen to do the dishes, I'd rather be focused doing that than taking double the time trying to do multiple things. Okay. And it is, how can I say, it's seducing to do multiple things because everything that you do, you look to the next thing and it's so attractive to do it as well. So uh, we need to control ourselves in a good way. Say, no, I need to be mindful. Let me finish the dishes, and then I can take my coffee, or I can do the laundry. Like if I'm doing stuff at home, or same as working, I'm doing the task. I'm doing to analyze the numbers for a report. I should finish the report and then prepare the email that I will send the report. Not doing everything at the same time. That is just uh, you're always losing time with that. Okay, that will be the first thing. And the second thing, when you think about movement of our body and having that mindfulness in movement, including the movement of your body, come on, it is, you're always saving your vital energy because you're not like randomly walking, hitting the furniture, and all that stuff that a lot of people do, forgetting your keys, your car keys at home, and then, and it's so many things that you lose by not paying attention on doing things. So even in simple tasks, movements at home, movements in your workplace, you're saving time because you are more aware. You grab the things that you need to leave. You pick up everything that you need from the grocery store list and everything else. Okay, just put your life on track and easy. Okay.
Yeah. And there is something else, that an example that just happened with someone. I was giving a mentorship these days, and the person was so overwhelmed of the amount of things that she had to do, and she didn't have the clarity to decide like how she would be able to take care of everything. It's not about her this life, but if you are used to do one thing at a time, you are used to choose what's the most important thing to do now.
Yeah.
And your brain is used to do one thing at a time and to prioritize, and this way to be more effective on the things that matter. So
Yeah.
even though the things can be pretty simple, you are training your brain to focus, because it's like doing a marathon. You need to train in order to be ready when you have the real marathon. So if you are used to choose, or if you're used to focus or concentrate when you need to, it's going to be easier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And
there's another detail there, which is quite common, uh, which is availability. Because in the example that you said, there's a big chance that the person is always available for everything. And so it's hard to prioritize and it's hard to put those things into action because you're always being interrupted. Okay, that's the bad thing about a good Wi-Fi and notifications, because many times we lose mindfulness because of someone calls in multiple ways. It's an email, it's a notification, is a message or whatever. So defend yourself from the distractions is a good way to train mindfulness. If it's something really important to start and finish, just like you do in your hotel room, do not disturb at the door. Okay, you need your
mhm,
time. Okay, so do not disturb, take your time, do whatever you need to do and finish it. Okay, and is not being rude, because everybody gets unavailable a few times a day, and so it's doable. Okay, so I encourage people to do that as well.
could you give me some examples of activities in our daily life that we can practice mindfulness in movement?
Oh yeah. Uh, Simple things are usually the most effective ones. Okay. If you have a dog and you're going to walk the dog to the streets or to the park, play with him or her. Okay. So be a mindful moment with you and your dog, and not unleash him, grab the phone, and just wait for him to do whatever he needs to do. And when he finishes, go back home. You're just losing so many opportunities of joyfulness, of being present, which is great. Even to go to do the recycling, do it with mindfulness. Okay, don't do it and then I put the plastic in the paper bin. Come on. It's 2025. You cannot do that. Okay, it's rude doing that. So don't be distracted in simple things, because tasks that you do daily are the best ones for you to work out mindfulness. Okay, just things like that. Okay, setting up a table for dinner. Okay, do it with mindfulness. Don't throw the food into the table and then, oh, I missed the fork. Oh, and now it's the knife. No, and the glass and the water. Come on, prepare yourself, stay focused, do do the full task with awareness, and then you have your dinner. Okay, as another example.
Nice. Nice. And do you have any technique or any simple technique to start to practice mindfulness in movement? You already talked about walking the dog, you already said about the recycling or assembling the table. Do you have any other suggestion or
Hmm.
technique to start
Yeah,
to do it?
yeah. I'm going to tell my personal example, okay? When I started practicing the Rose method years ago, I was still in college training to become an architect. Okay, so drawings, floor plans, sections, views, details were my thing. Okay, so it was really hard to disconnect. And I think that most people that struggle with mindfulness is because they cannot disconnect from things that they have at work buzzing their mind. So I think that that is the first step. How can I just get rid of all this noise? And so in my classes, I hope my first instructor is not listening. The first minutes were useless because I was having a hard time trying to breathe and trying to. It was getting. I was getting the results of the technique, but not in full. Okay, but when I did balancing in one leg, that thing was actually my first real mindfulness training. Because if I say to you, okay, it's simple exercise, you're going to hold yourself standing in one foot for 1 minute. Sounds easy. And most people will struggle. Okay. And then the struggle will become a challenge, and the challenge will train your focus. So sometimes doing something difficult enough, but doable enough, it is a good way to start training mindfulness. Okay, so if you're watching this and you're saying, I think I can, go ahead. 1 minute, standing in one foot, motionless, and just hold your position there. And you're going to notice how challenging for your mind that is. And at the same time, how useful it is to train mindfulness. Come on, I was actually thinking about multiple things, multitasking up here. And then because of one challenge, one physical challenge, boom, I was present. Yeah, okay. Give it a try. Who knows if it works as good as it did to me? And that unlocked multiple things. I started enjoying the practice way more, and I didn't need to wait for a balanced position to train mindfulness. But in the beginning, it was kind of hard to me, and that was my moment in the practice. That now it's mindfulness time.
Nice. Nuno, how can the conscious breathing be integrated to mindfulness in movement? How we can use the breathing exercises or the conscious breathing?
Yeah. So because breathing is something that is happening the whole time, if you focus on your breath, you're focused on something on the present moment. So it immediately is a hook, a perfect hook to start training mindfulness. So it's quite of an easy exercise or almost invisible exercise. I can be in a meeting, out of focus. I need to train mindfulness in that moment. So in a couple of seconds, I stop, pay attention to my breath, and then boom, I'm in a state of mindfulness and I can pay attention now to the meeting as an example. So you can use that to trigger a bigger mindfulness state. Okay. Or if you're struggling, start with your breath, see how it goes. It hook you got that state of mindfulness, you're present. Okay, so now bring that awareness not to your breath, but to the task that you're doing. It is a simple way of trying to find a solution amid chaos. And you grab your breath, and then from your breath, you transpose to the thing that you need to do. And then you're doing mindfulness in work, doing sports, whatever you need to bring mindfulness to.
Nice, good. What are the most common challenges that people face when they try to do mindfulness in movement?
Uh, I think is this misconception of mindfulness being just a mental exercise. Okay. Um,
Paradigm, maybe?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I will never forget a trial that I had in New York City when we were living and working there. And I asked one person that was doing a trial with me, a trial class, to bring some comfortable clothes. And that person got very irritated with me. How can you ask me to do mindfulness if I need to bring comfortable clothes? I don't understand the relation. And it was very like almost aggressive to me. And I was come on, I'm the teacher here. And so I, quite in a quite educated way, we walked into the classroom. It was a huge poster of one of our colleagues doing a really tough position. And I was like, come here. I want you to analyze this position here. See, he's standing on his hands, but not on his hands. He's standing on the tip of his fingers to hold his own weight. Don't you think to achieve this is a train of mindfulness? The person said, yeah, of course. So that's your answer for the comfortable clothes. I will never give you a class uh, to feel uncomfortable and not being able to do whatever because you didn't bring comfortable clothes. Got it? Yes. So now let's do the class. Okay. And then at the end, that person said, I got it. I'm not sure if I agree, but I got it. Okay. And I think it represents a big portion of that paradigm that it is a good word that you've mentioned of bringing mindfulness as a mental exercise into more of a comprehensive approach of mindfulness for the whole body in all activities, in simple things, in complex things. Just whenever you are able to train mindfulness, do it. Okay, you're gonna walk. It's a beautiful day. You go out on the street. Come on, don't go there scrolling on Instagram or even being on a phone call talking about something else. At least 5 minutes, you can do it in a mindful way. 5 minutes, no earbuds, no nothing, just you and your walk for 5 minutes. Okay. Then if you want to put a podcast to learn something more, okay, but don't do multitasking all the time. Okay. Uh, we can do it. Single tasking and being proud of. I'm proud of single tasking.
Nice. No, no. What can we do when our mind starts to wander around during the practice?
Hmm. So that means probably our classes, right? In the context of
Yes,
our classes, yeah.
yes.
So in that context, don't be mad at yourself, okay? It happens even with the teachers. So we are as human as you guys are. So don't be mad at yourself when you are out of focus, okay? You just realize, oh, I was distracted, okay? Just wait for the moment immediately after to grab the class again, okay? I most many times when we are doing rhythmic breathing, I've mentioned if you get distracted, wait for the next inhalation to restart the exercise. In meditation, we do the same. If you get distracted, start the exercise again. If we are doing a balanced position, if you get distracted and you lose your balance, assemble the same position again, and so on. So just having this sweet tolerance to yourself, but engage with your evolution. Okay, not just being too passive and unaffected. No, we want to evolve. We have this attitude of trying to do our best every time we go to the class. we want to be better this class than I was in the previous class. Having this attitude is important, but if something gets off, don't be mad at yourself. Just wait the opportunity immediately after to go back into the class, to do the exercise that you should be doing, and you should be fine.
Thank you. Okay, in our daily life, I have three questions that can be together in one. Like, how can we incorporate mindfulness in movement in a full agenda? And if there is a special moment or a specific moment that's better to do, or should we put any trigger or reminder to remember to do our mindfulness during the day? Like, what's the best moment? How can we incorporate what time of the day? If you use any trigger or alarm or something to help you.
Got it, got it. So, things that are already part of your routine will be the best ones to integrate mindfulness in. Okay? So, there's a big chance that you brush your teeth multiple times a day. So, use that,
Hopefully.
hopefully. So, use that as a moment of mindfulness. Okay? So, you're not brushing your teeth and checking your phone or your email. Okay, don't do that. Okay, it is not a moment for that. You're just brushing your teeth with mindfulness. Okay, it can be a silly example, but it should be a really good example. Say, oh, yes, of course I can do that. I will start doing today. Okay, and with that, you start to incorporate more and more activities of mindfulness from your routine, because that way you are training every day. That's the good thing. Okay. For example, a very a very thin answer to this kind of question is you should meditate every day to train mindfulness. And I know that that sentence is true, but if a student misses a class, he will miss meditation, he will miss mindfulness training. So for the whole day, he will miss training mindfulness. So my suggestion is to start with things that are part of your routine to improve into a mindfulness level. At the same time, whenever you can, if you can join a class to do your mindfulness training, great, okay? You're more than welcome to be in our classes or to train by yourself. That's great too. And then it will start growing more and more so you can have a more mindful life, uh, but in a sustainable way. Okay, I think that will be my best tip for you guys.
Nice. That is going to be my last question, but I think you already answered. Like, a tip to give to someone who's starting and wants to bring mindfulness to their lives. I think you already said that.
Yeah.
So one last question: how the mindfulness in movement connects with the bigger concept of living in the present?
Mindfulness in movement is uh, one piece of the whole thing. Okay, uh, and it's almost like a foundation. Imagine like a house or a building, and mindfulness in movement is actually the main structure in concrete or in stainless steel or, or in steel that gives a solid support for everything else. Okay, it looks like useless. You cannot live in the foundation. You cannot do anything in a pillar or in a beam, but it needs to be there. Okay, so I think that will be my quickest answer here.
Nice. I like the connection with your architecture background. Okay, thank you very much. See you next week. Bye
See you
bye.
next week. Bye bye.